Hi, everybody. A little different today. I'm actually recording on my computer, so it'll be like the right way for YouTube. So if you've been following along, it's been like vertical videos, but I'm going to try to do it the right way. We'll see. So yesterday, anyway, if you're following along on my like saga, yesterday I talked about how I got my first teaching job and my student teaching and all that stuff. And then like I went home and I was thinking about, oh my God, I told that whole story without actually telling a huge chunk of what was going on in my life at the same time. And I couldn't believe like I left it out, but I think I'll talk about why that happened, I think, after I tell the story that's missing. Okay, anyway. So while I was going through that student teaching experience and while all that was happening, there was also something very significant going on in my personal life. My father had a quadruple bypass at the age of 59, and he basically never came home. But for like 3 years, he was on a ventilator. He was completely, fully functional. You know, he was mentally completely there. His faculties were all there. He could move everything. Like everything was good except that he couldn't breathe, which is, kind of important. And he just had all kinds of complications after complications. And, when you're on a ventilator, well, at least back then, it was very difficult to find a facility that could care for him. So it was, he was in ICU for like 2 years. And they finally moved him out of ICU, and he went to a nursing home. And when your father, who is, 60, is in a nursing home with elderly people who, are completely out of it, it wasn't fun. And my father was the best. He was just like a happy, funny, life of the party, like storyteller. He was the best. So anyway, to see him like that was not easy, but that was the whole time I was student teaching, was like the last year of him going through that. And that's when he was in the nursing home. So like before that, like I worked the whole time. Like I've worked since I was 15. As soon as I could have a job, I had a job, because I came from the kind of family where I had to work. There was no savings. There was no college account. I was the first person to go to college in my family. And so like I had to pay for it, so I worked and worked. And I would get up in the morning and I would go to like Dunkin' Donuts or someplace, and I would get coffee and breakfast and bring it up to him, and we would have breakfast together. And then like when I was still in college, I would go to classes, and then after my classes, I stayed home for college because of all this. I didn't go away. I would go to classes, and then I would go get him something else, like a snack or lunch or whatever, bring it up to him and hang with him for a little while longer. And then I would go to work, to my job. I worked in a restaurant. And then after work, like I would work until like 9:30, 10, whatever. And then I would go out, because I had this huge group of friends at the time, and we went out. We went out we knew every place that had specials on every night. And I remember like Mondays sucked because it wasn't nothing was open on Mondays, and we didn't know what to do with ourselves on that day. But that was my life, like for years. And then when I was student teaching, I was still trying to work, because they tell you you're not allowed to work, but like, so, I would still do the best I could to like student teach all day, and then go visit him, and then, try to do what I needed to do for the next day. And it was like, that was the cycle. But I couldn't not visit him, because the look he would give me when I walked in, it was just, I could see, it was just all he looked forward to. It was having visitors, because he was just such a people person. And he was in this room, because when you're on a ventilator, it's very specialized care. And I mean, maybe it's different now, but he had to have of course, round the clock respiratory care and nursing care. And he was in this big room it was huge, but it was like divided into 4 sections. And the other 3 people that were there, they were there the whole time, but they were like in a vegetative state, and they didn't talk or anything. So he was just basically in this room by himself with 3 other people who were, not doing well. And
he was like he was the only one that got visitors, and he still was like happy and funny and talkative and stuff with everybody. Whatever. So it was just awful. And then on top of all that, my mother, like, she checked out. She didn't want to have much to do. Like, she would visit my dad every day. But she, like, lost her mind or something because, she didn't, like, she stopped doing stuff that you're supposed to do. Like, she wouldn't pay the bills, and she didn't want to talk to any doctors, and she didn't want to deal with anything from the nursing home, and she didn't want to deal with anything. So, like, I did it. Like, I had to do it. Somebody had to do it. So here I was, like, what was I, 21, 22, and I was my father's medical surrogate, and I made the decisions, and I talked to the doctors, and I talked to the nursing home, and it was me. It was all on my shoulders, and doing my student teaching and trying to finish college and all of that stuff at the same time. And then I graduated college, and then he passed away in September of my first year of teaching. While I was teaching 5th grade dropout prevention as a fresh out of the box brand new teacher. So those were not easy days. That is for certain. And that, it's just funny that all of that happened, and I left that giant chunk of my life out of the story that I told yesterday. And I think it's because, if you've been through some stuff, and that's just one of the things that I've been through, I think you learn to compartmentalize your life, and you can't dwell on the things that have happened to you all day, or you would not be able to function. So you have to, like, learn to live in boxes. I don't walk around all day thinking of the things that have happened to me in my past, or I wouldn't be able to function. Like, I wouldn't be able to get out of bed in the morning. So you just learn to go forward and do what you have to do. And I think I learned that lesson super early going through that with my dad, that you just have to go. Yeah, your life goes on, and you have to do what you have to do because you have to survive. And it wasn't easy. It was hard. It was really, really hard. And then, dealing with my mother on top of it, and she was a little, like, there's stories about her too. She's passed away now too, though. I've had so much loss. I've lost so many people in my life. Again, you just learn to, like, go on. You learn there's a new way of living after something like that happens. So it's not easy, but that's just how it is. So I just thought I would fill in the gaps with that little that little part of the story that I left out, because it's kind of important. I don't know. I hope that no one thinks that I think I am so self-important that someone's going to want to listen to every detail of my life. But like I said, I like to listen to things when I'm doing other stuff and just having someone on in the background, and I like listening to their stories. So that's what this is, I guess. Not necessarily teaching. I don't know. Maybe it's therapeutic. I've never really been to therapy to deal with grief and loss, and maybe I should have. I don't know. I think if you don't deal with your grief, it does manifest in different ways, different things. And you just never really know what's going on with someone. They could look fine and happy all the time, and then you really have no idea that they're suffering inside. But anyway, I don't know. I'm rambling as usual, but that's just filling in the little gap that I left out yesterday. I don't know. It's Thursday, but I have Wawa because we didn't have anything, no groceries for lunch or anything. So we stopped at Wawa and got some sandwiches for lunch, and I got some coffee. And in a few minutes, my day is going to start here. And by, 8 o'clock, all of this sadness will be gone, and I'll be happy and, singing with 6-year-olds. And that's just how it is. Sometimes you just need a good breakdown, and you get it out of your system and you move on. So I hope this, like, filming setup is a little better. It feels like a lot of face, so I may have to figure out how to, like, back it up a little bit. And also, I'm not sure where to look. So if my eyes are all over the place, I'll get it down for the next one. But I don't know if I should be looking into the camera or like straight ahead. I'm going to test for myself or like at myself. I don't know what I'm doing. But I thank you for being here. If you're one of the 16 subscribers of mine and you're listening to my story, it's not always going to be sad. I don't know. I'm going to just kind of talk about what's going on. I love when I find someone on YouTube that's relatable, and I like to hear their stories. I don't know. But man, in other news, Adam Levine, he's a dog. He is something else. My goodness, did you hear what? Okay, I'm totally switching gears, but I think this is what I do. So I'm getting out of the funk and the sadness because I can't stay like that all day. So if you're not following along, Adam Levine from Maroon 5. Okay, listen to this. He had like this affair, but was it really an affair? I guess it was just like a texting affair, like a sexting situation. And he, like with his own account, like in DMs with video messages, like how dumb are you? And he had several now relationships with people, but the weirdest one is he came to one of the girls he was talking with and sent her a message like months after I guess they stopped talking and said, "Hey, I'm having another baby and I'd like to name it after you. What do you think about that?" And she was like, "What?" And she went public with his DM and stuff. And then he admitted it. So like he came out and sent a message like, "Oh, I was going through something and I'm so sorry and I love my wife." It just shows like you can have everything. That man has more money than most of us could ever imagine having. The respect and admiration of millions of fans across the world. Anything he wants, and a Victoria's Secret supermodel wife who is giving him beautiful children. And that wasn't enough. That wasn't enough. That's a mental issue. That's got to be some kind of mental issue, either like a narcissist who thinks, like he'll never get caught and he can have whatever he wants, or I don't know, something big missing in his life or something, because or like you want to screw up your life. Like, I don't understand how you could have everything anybody would ever want and still screw it up by talking to another girl. I mean, it wasn't just talking. He was like, "Why don't you F with me? And your body's got me like crazy and I'd do anything for that booty," and all this crazy stuff. Like, I know it's not an affair. Like, I don't think they ever met up in person, but dang, if I saw my husband texting, if I was a Victoria's Secret supermodel and I saw my husband texting some other woman, I'd be like, seriously, dude, pack it up. So, I don't know. Just never know what's going on in someone's life. There you go. Proof of that again. Okay, I'm going to try to have a good day. We're actually going to see a Rolling Stones cover band, like a tribute band tonight. So that ought to be kind of fun. We don't usually do that kind of stuff, especially not on a school night because I'm like 100. So I'm going to be dreading it all day. I'm going to dread it all day that I have somewhere to go and something to do tonight and I have to go out and I'm not going to be like in my pajamas on the couch at 8 o'clock and like I'm going to dread it all day. But then I'm going to go and I'm going to have fun. And then tomorrow I'm going to be tired because, again, I'm 100. So anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope this video is nicer to watch on YouTube. And thank you for being here. And thank you for listening to me. And I really don't think I'm that important. And I'm not a narcissist where I think everyone wants to know my life story. But I'm just trying something new. Maybe you're my therapy. All right, everybody. Have a great day.